barometer. What we're really good at, Lisa Bramowitz, Jonathan Farrow, and myself, we try to get out front, and we've got a team that puts together guests. And then we know when the news changes, when the facts change, we tell the guests to change. We can do that with Lester Munson, with BGR Group, with a distinguished career in Washington in foreign policy. Lester Munson, we learned moments ago from what I think is the most important signal from the nascent Biden administration that they will take John Fitzgerald Kennedy's USAID program, which has been a political football for 50, 60 years, and they will restructure it and elevate it to a White House position with Samantha Power. What is President-elect Biden signaling?
Well, for folks who follow foreign assistance issues and soft power and these kind of more obscure aspects of American diplomacy, it's terrific news. Samantha Power is a force. She's an intellectual powerhouse. I'm not saying she's right about every single issue, but she's dynamic. She's interesting. She's going to bring a lot of energy and verve to what has been, frankly, a sleepy agency in the U.S. government. And I think it's a huge opportunity for President Biden to make a difference around the world, particularly in the developing world, a place where we haven't really been present for the last 4 years.
If we assume, whatever our politics, that we are restructuring USAID, are we going to restructure state? And do you look for the same drama from a new State Department?
That's a great question. One of the things that President Biden appears to be doing is really strengthening the NSC, which means he's pulling power into the White House. That's not great for the State Department. Tony Blinken's a trusted advisor. If he's confirmed as secretary, as I expect he will be, that'll be a plus for the department, but there could be rocky times ahead for the State Department.
Lester, as a never-Trump Republican yourself, who still considers himself a Republican, who worked in the Bush administration, how does the Republican Party without Trump distinguish itself from the Democratic Party of today?
Well, I think there's plenty of issues where that can happen. Economic issues, social issues, foreign policy. Republicans are a hawkish national security party. We need to find that voice again. It's been modulated and muddied up during the Trump years. Liz Cheney's as good a carrier of that message as anyone. Adam Kinzinger, who's going to be supporting her in voting for impeachment of the president, is another excellent voice in that regard. So I see some of these younger, more dynamic Republicans emerging from this chaos.
Do you think that those younger, more dynamic Republicans will vote in tandem with Democrats to get some sort of fiscal stimulus through, to get some of other aspects of Joe Biden's administration through, even if it sort of muddies this line as they try to reestablish their identity?
Well, I think that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. Republicans are occasionally fiscal conservatives. Not so for the last 4 years. They seem to be rediscovering that, as they often do when they're not in the White House, so there's a little bit of cynicism there. But I expect that Republicans will be more skeptical of massive payments in response to the pandemic. But there'll be places where Republicans, never-Trumpers, and even some pro-Trump Republicans will find a way to vote with the Biden administration. I expect there to be more bipartisanship than people think in the next few months.
Lester, I don't want you to game what we see after 5 p.m.-ish today, but can the Senate find 17 Republican votes to convict the President of the United States? I know that's an unfair question to you, but that is the question of the moment.
It is the question, and it's what everyone's reading between the lines for. It's a very difficult goal. It's a high bar to get over. The fact that Mitch McConnell is out there signaling that he might embrace this process is very telling. He does not do things on a whim. He would only be sending that signal if it looked like there was progress towards that goal. Now, there's plenty of road to go down here, even though it's just a few days. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of voices we need to hear from, but it does seem like things are trending in that direction. I still think it's probably too difficult to quite get there, but we're on the way.
I look, we're on the way, and, we're on to new changes. I want to circle back, Lester, to our foreign policy. What, again, is there going to be a strategy or a theme that you can glean now from Biden foreign policy or not?
It's hard to say. During the campaign and during the transition, the Biden people would put out kind of boilerplate statements saying they wanted to restore U.S. leadership in the world. And I think those of us who are in the swamp or a little more cynical kind of dismiss that. But that's a very real thing right now. Given the events of last week, President Biden is going to have to take active steps to restore the image, the posture, and the leadership of the U.S. in the world. He's just going to have to do that. It's going to take a long time.
Lester, thank you so much, particularly on that breaking news of a new USAID program for President-elect Biden. Lester Munson with BGR Group. Lisa, I was watching Home Alone 2.